So I'm here with one of my closest friends, and he's gonna introduce himself real quick.
Uh, my name is Sean. I go to the University of Texas at Austin. Um, I'm a stats data science major, and he's here for a concert, so we met up.
Yeah, the Drake concert's
The
gonna go
Drake concert,
crazy.
the Moody Center.
But in terms of this prestigious school that you're in, right? What does it feel like? Does it feel surreal? Does it feel like do you feel like an imposter, or like how some people get imposter syndrome,
Right.
or do you feel like you've stepped up to the occasion and you deserve this spot?
I definitely think I deserve this spot. Um, I mean, I feel like I wouldn't say I feel out of place here at UT. Like, I think it's a really accepting campus, and there's so many people of different likes here that um, anywhere you go, like because the campus is so big, so many different people, you're gonna find people that you like, that you want in your circle, people that are like you. I think moving here was like definitely very, very different, but it was something that I think that I needed. Um, Being from the valley, it's kind of like everything's within a bubble in some sort. Like people that are in the valley tend to stay in the valley for different reasons, obviously. But I think getting a chance to go out there, be here for school, and also to do like other stuff, like just meet people. I think it's something that's you can't really get anywhere else. That or like can't get anywhere else inside the valley, rather than like going somewhere else.
So on top of the things you said, how people stay in a certain area because of certain situations, do you think would you recommend a lot of people to like move or have a change of setting and kind of transition into a different like pace of life?
I think that everybody. Oh, okay. I think that everybody should move. Like, I mean, I totally understand why people would want to stay in their hometown. For me personally, I felt like I was just stuck there. Like I just wanted to get out, and I feel like there's so much more to see in the world that you just need to have that change of setting. And like I said, it's like kind of scary at first. Like moving here, you're on your own, you're more independent. But that's part of why I like it so much here. I feel like I can be my own person and I can just like I'm living like an adult, but like a mini adult right now because my housing's here and you're on campus. You get to go to all these places. You don't have to have like people that you known since middle school or high school breathing down your backs like, oh, how are you? It's like you get to start fresh. You get to be like, okay, this is like a new, like you can be whatever you want because you don't have to live up to any expectation that you were before college or in high school or elementary and stuff like that.
And with the drastic changes you've had in your life and the things you've now seen, like what are the best parts of the campus that you like to see? Like I know you have two gyms here, like the rec center, and a lot of these and the campus is quite big, like as you showed me like from before. Like, your favorite spots around the campus?
Favorite spots around campus right now is definitely like either the rec center or the gym or the Gregory gym. You get to meet a lot of people there. Like I go there just to obviously work out. They have like the weight room there and stuff, but you can easily check out like racquetballs, volleyballs, basketballs, and you just play pickup games there. You get to meet a lot of people doing that. In terms of study spots, I really like going to like the library, the PCL. We call it the pickle. Um, it's very nice there. They have like certain floors that are designated for group work, so you can be loud in the library, and then other floors that are like supposedly quiet. Um, yeah, there's just I like being on the campus and being able to just like have everything here that you need, and you don't have to go out of your way too much to like get something that you need. Like if you want to go out and eat, there's still like restaurants on campus and on the drag on Quad that you can use like your UTID to pay for stuff like that. So
And you also talked about meeting people. How's that like? Like friendship building and relationships. Do you think a lot of these like experiences and meeting people can kind of take you away from who you are or who you used to be?
okay, I think meeting new people, right? So to touch on that, for me, in my experience, it's almost freeing. Like being from a hometown, people. almost everybody not knows each other, but they know of you. They know what you do. They know stuff that like they'd be like, oh, Sean's a swimmer and
So there's
stuff
like
like
an
that.
image to
There's like an
create.
image that you. I don't want to say I felt like I had to live up to it, but it's like it's just always there,
You
you
had to
know?
uphold, you know.
Exactly. So I kind of going forward, I kind of took it as like I don't want to be known as like, oh, Sean, he's the swimmer, or he's the one that does this, or he's the DJ. It's like swimming. What I didn't want swimming to be like my life. I just wanted it to be something that I did, something that's a part of my life. And so now that I'm not swimming anymore, I'm retired, you could say. I didn't really feel like I lost a part of myself. I just moved on and grew into something else. Like I'll always have that part of me in my past and in my history, and it's definitely shaped me for who I am today. Um, but I think that there's nothing left for me to keep on doing that, and it's just time to pursue something new.
So it's more like coming out of your cocoon.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Because swimming definitely like raised me in a way. Like I since been doing it for a long time, and then being able to step outside of that and outside of the cocoon was nice. And then I think touching on the point of like straining those past relationships, I think that the friends that you're left with after high school, you'll still always have them. You might not be as close, so in a way it could be seen as straining. But whenever you go home for the summer, for the on the weekends that you go or the breaks, you'll always be from the same hometown. And those people that you grew up with, they know where you come from. They've met your family. The people that you meet here, they're probably never gonna meet your family unless like you're really close with them at like they're your best man at your wedding or some shit like that. Um, they're like not going to have that same type of close bond as you were from your hometown. But it's just like different types of relationships for different scenarios or in different points at your life is what I'm trying to say.
Do you think the distance decay between us ever since I moved away? Do you think that kind of strained our relationship, or we drifted, but we never really like lost touch? What do you think? Like, we're still very comfortable with each other, and I still consider you like one of my very close friends, and I'd love to have you in my entire life. But there was like a loss of time. And what do you did I ever cross your mind at some point, or like oh, should I text him? Or
Hmm.
at some point, like you do think about those things sometimes,
Yeah.
whether you're still staring at the ceiling, like closing your eyes, trying to twisting and turning in bed. you know a lot of these times you kind of just sit and think. A lot of those times when you're alone, but well, you're not alone, but you feel alone. Like, how would you describe our relationship, like our friendship?
I do want to say that because of the distance, we weren't as close during that time, but I also don't think it's changed. Like it hasn't affected it to the extent where we're not as close
The
anymore.
dynamic.
Yeah, the dynamic. Um, I definitely think that we were both able to grow like as our own people on the side. And I mean like we're talking about our friendship right now, but this also kind of goes for like relationships as well. Like currently I'm in a relationship that and we don't go to the same school, you know. And a lot of people will like see that and be like, "Oh shit." Like
Why do you think there's a narrative where do you think it's like a red flag to be in different colleges and still be in a long distance relationship? Why do you think there's like a red flag in that?
so before I get to that, I was going to say that like the way me and my girlfriend talked about it is that this like distance between us is a good thing because we're able to grow on our own, just like kind of how we were able to grow on our own as our own people without always being connected to each other. Um, like you're able to grow as your own person and find out what you want to do without having to worry about, oh, like I always have to be like taking care. Not that everything's taking care of each other, but like you're able to find out what you want to do with your life without having like a significant other um that's like influencing that in a way. So you both get to figure out what you like to do, and then after then you're able to conjoin and see whatever like steps you want to go from there if things are still working out. In terms of the red flag thing, um if you're in like a relationship that's like maybe a few months and you're going into college, there's no point. That's where you just cut it for real. Me and my girlfriend, we were together for about 2 years, 2.5 years already, and so like we've built up a lot of trust between us, and we've also set specific boundaries that we're not going to cross, like either of us. So like just being able to develop that type of communication before having a big change like this, like moving away from each other for a long time, is very important. And if you don't have that, that's where like you can see a lot of problems where like this guy is like, oh my God, like my girl did this and I'm not cool with that. But your girl didn't know that you weren't cool with that, you know? So how is she going to know what's cool and what's not if you didn't communicate about it, about what's okay, what's not okay with those boundaries being away from each other?
Do you think when it comes to relationships, it's kind of hard to take the emotion part out of the logical part? Like, you
What
know
do you mean?
how some people like, when things get heated, you start to yell, raise your voice a little bit. Why do you think it's so hard to get that emotional part like out of your head? Like
Okay.
when you think about something objectively, like especially in a relationship, right? You want to tackle the problem, but sometimes I think when it comes to girls as well, they just want you to listen,
Mm-hmm.
and like they don't really want a solution at
Mm-hmm.
that point. They just want you to know, like they just want you to hear that you admit whether that you did wrong and why you did wrong.
Right.
At some point, like I have experienced that, but I've never had a girlfriend, so I wouldn't know it to the extent that you know.
So for me and my girlfriend, the way that we go about resolving conflict, um, we're very different in a sense. So this is where a lot of problems arise, right? Some people are a problem happens, now let's solve it right now, right now, right now. Like we have to get this done so that we don't extend the time where we're not cool with each other. That's kind of how I am. With her, she's on the other side of it where it's like this thing happened, now I need space. I need space to process my emotions to kind of cool off and stuff like that. So kind of towards the beginning of our relationship, it was very hard to like resolve that conflict and to find like a middle ground between that because it's very polar opposites. You know, I'd be over here like let's talk about this. We need to fix this, but she's over here feeling bad and she's like, no, I need space. I need to like think about this for a little bit, right? So, um, when it comes to a situation like that, you kind of, for the emotional part, there can come a time where you get so caught up in your emotions and you say stuff that you don't want to say or you didn't necessarily mean in the moment. And so for my girlfriend, that's her take on that. She's like, I don't want to say something that'll hurt you because I have so much high emotions right now, so I need to take space. When resolving conflict, you almost have to take it as, well, like one step at a time, right? You can't solve the conflict within her and the conflict within you at the same time. It's not going to work because you're both going to be looking out for your own self interest. You're both trying to find out why you're right or why they're wrong, you know? But if you're, as a guy, I feel like you should be the one to take a step back just a little bit. If something rubs you the wrong way, just settle it down. You can address it later. But the main thing is to get them to feel better about whatever that is. And if that's giving them a solution or listening to them or having that emotional support, you do that. And then once everything's fine there, where it's not a heated conversation anymore, then you can address the things about that you felt were wrong. And now you're able to have a mature conversation about it rather than both people trying to get what they want out of each other.
What advice would you give to people that have never been in a relationship trying to date in the age group of 19 to 23?
19 to 20. That's a big ass age group. Is that like supposedly for college, like
Yeah,
college gap?
yeah, for the
Um,
college, yeah. Like no prior experiences, like no middle school, no high school, just like
okay, middle
college.
school doesn't count. I
Yeah.
don't count anything from middle school. High school would count after like maybe 3, 4 months.
Yeah.
Um, what advice in like what way?
Like like a lot of them don't know how to
Like
express.
approach or
They don't know how to express affection and love. Like because they've never had the opportunity to express
hmm
it. They've never felt it. You know, you could have deep feelings for somebody, but you've never like. There's being in love and there's loving someone.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Those are two very distinct. Like like being in love can can be intoxicating, right? Loving someone, you look past their flaws and accept them for who they are, right? Like romance virgins, how would they like?
Romance virgins.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
how would they approach
So
having a relationship from like the age of 18 to like 22, like no prior experience?
Okay.
They don't even know what love language they have,
Mm.
right?
So that's the thing, right? The with relationships, part of it's exploring your partner, the other part of it is exploring yourself, you know. If you don't even know what type of love language you are, then probably like being in a relationship will teach you that, you know. And that's kind of like how like the more relationships that you go through, you kind of take something from it, obviously. Like you learn about yourself and about other people and how other people can work. And that is what gives you the knowledge to deal with other, not deal, but like handle. Okay, that sounds really bad. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not handle, not deal, but like what to do in those situations, right? With different types of people, right? Because you might come across somebody, especially in college, where there's so many different types of people, so diverse that you're like, whoa, like I've never seen somebody act this way. It's not like wrong, but it's just something that you've never been exposed to. Um, so when you're in that situation, it's like you're able to learn from those people. And when it comes to relationships, exploring people and yourself. Fuck, I don't know where I'm going with this shit, Loki. I kind of lost. Okay, what's the question again? I got to go back to the
Okay,
question. Shit.
okay. We'll start with, um, can love and obsession be indistinguishable?
Indistinguishable. I think there's definitely a fine line. So like what you said about like being in love and loving somebody, um,
Yeah, like being in love is very
very different,
intoxicating.
right? So
Intoxicating.
being in love, talk about the honeymoon phase, all of that shit. Like the first 3 months, everything's so good, the giddy feelings and whatnot, and then you get down to it. So now loving somebody, right, is like being very patient for one. Kind of like in my personal experience, same thing about the like resolving conflict. That was like a like probably one of the biggest things that we had to go over. Like a a big obstacle that we were able to go over as a couple because that was two very different styles of conflict resolution. And if because I care about her and I love her, I'm able to like make these compromises and like even though I'm not used to waiting so long after like an argument or something to cool off and stuff, like I'm just able to freely talk and control um like I'm not gonna I know myself and I'm not gonna like yell at her just because it's like the emotions and so heated in the moment, you know? Like I'm able to do that, but not everyone is, you know? And so because of that, like being able to accept that not everyone's exactly the same as you and finding that compromise, that middle ground, I feel like is a really big part of loving somebody and being able to have the patience to do that because it takes a very long time. It's not like something that's gonna come overnight. And
And
um,
do you think mutual obsession can lead to very toxic relationships?
obsession is a really like weird word, but mutual obsession, I mean like
Like you shouldn't do this. Like you're mine. Like you're only
oh
mine.
like possessive like
Yes, yes.
that's already toxic, you
Yeah,
know? That's already toxic
that's what I meant.
in the first okay. I get it now. So mutually,
Yes,
I mean look, like to each their own, but like
it's like
if anybody were to come up and like tell me
it's
you
almost
can't do
like
this, you can't do that,
it's
it's like
almost
really
like
bad.
codependency.
Yeah. Because also, yeah, like codependency, like when you're in that type of relationship, you become very dependent on each other. And you're very like always looking out to see like, oh, like they better not be doing this, they better not be doing that. Like
That
that type of obsession, right?
that's kind of Gael and Bella's
That
relationship.
okay, you didn't need a name drop, bro. You better cut that shit out. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'll cut it.
That's crazy.
I'll bleep. I'll bleep. I'll bleep.
Okay, okay, okay. So, obsession, yeah,
I'll post this on
definitely like a
Spotify.
very it's it's like obsession in itself is already toxic, I think. And if you're both toxic, you don't really fight fire with fire. It just makes a bigger fire.
Now, final question, because we are approaching our time deadline, right? As a young adult transitioning from childhood to adulthood, what are some of the best things you could do for yourself and the worst thing you could do for yourself?
Very good question. So the big one is obviously study as like the best thing that you could do for yourself. Prioritize your classes. And I mean, UT is a really big party school. Like this past weekend, we beat Alabama because fuck Bama. Go Horns. Um,
Demonetized.
oh shit. F Bama. But whatever. Yeah, so like people were out on Saturday and Friday night until like 5 in the morning, going crazy. Like if you look up like UT Austin after they beat Bama like that night, there was people in the fountain like swimming, and the football team was going like driving around at 2 in the morning. Like it was crazy, you know. And it's so good to be part of that type of school spirit, and it's a lot of fun to go to parties. But obviously, you do have to prioritize your schoolwork. Like sometimes I'd be forgetting that I'm here to do school and not here to just like have fun or like do sports and stuff like that. Like I'm doing an intramural team with my friends for volleyball, and like we do practices and stuff, and we're gonna have our first game next week. But like that's not the main reason why I'm here, you know. And sometimes I'd be spending too long in the gym or just like too long just messing around. So obviously study. Um,
The worst thing.
Worst thing that you could do would just be, yeah, to be in the mindset where like, okay, I'm gonna meet a lot of people. Like meeting people is good. You get to have connections, like networking in a way. But it's definitely good to take time for yourself. And because the campus is so big, it can be very overwhelming. And if you stay to yourself, that's probably the worst thing that you could do, because you'll be facing all these hard things alone, like finals, midterms, whatever you got going on, all of that stuff. If you do that alone, it's going to be 10 times harder than doing it with a group. Um, but even with that group, you still got to stay focused, because sometimes you get grouped up, or you group up with people who are just go crazy at parties and that's all they do. And then you'll also group up with people who only study, and you also don't want to do that either. But it's good to have multiple groups, jump around, meet new people, then combine those groups every now and then, make friends meet other friends, and now you got like a whole network going on. At least that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I mean, it's only like first month in, so everything's still in the works. Definitely prioritize yourself. And do you have any advice from your first month?
I mean, shit. Just a lot of it is just a lot of self improvement. I think that's the best thing I can tell you. Learn basic skills like discipline. Discipline starts the most. You know, the one thing in life that I crave the most is competence, and three things come with that. Comes with power, wealth, and money. I mean, power, wealth, and fame. Right. Being a competent man is one of the most attractive things a man could do, and you don't want to be a bum, especially as a man in this growing society.
No bums.
And motivation will never be as important as discipline. Discipline can take you to where motivation cannot, right? And learn how to make friends. You may not
Learn how to
be
talk to people.
yeah, you may not be the greatest at it, but it takes time to be good at something, you know. And there was this narrative that my family always says to me. Um, be a master at one thing, but I do think that's complete BS. I think a jack of all trades is better than a master of one, right? The complete saying goes like this: a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes a better than a master of one. So, in that regard, I do think a jack of all trades is a master at life, right? Like Leonardo da Vinci, one of the Renaissance men that I look at the most, that I look up to the most for inspiration. He was not only a businessman, a sculptor, an artist, a painter, and an engineer. You can be a lot of these things, and the one thing he was the best at is being competent. So that is my advice. Be someone competent. Say goodbyes.
Say goodbyes. Couple things. Oh, actually, let me say something real quick.
Okay.
Um, we could cut it and then we'll put this in. The thing about university is that there's so many resources and so many things that you can do. Pretty much anything that you want to do, you can. You just have to talk to the right people about. Like in university you get to study things that you'll never be able to study anywhere else. And I think having the option to take those classes, just take them. Like if you find something that's interesting, here at UT, there's like so many like UGS classes that we call them that are really interesting, and they're like things that you wouldn't be able to learn like in high school. They don't teach you in high school. They don't teach you in anywhere else but university. Also like research, like you wanted to get into research. All you have to do is just talk to people and find the people that can support you to support that interest of yours. So I think that's also something that you could definitely take advantage of when going to university or even at UTRGV or at a big university like UT and stuff like that. It's just the resources and being able to discover things that you wouldn't be able to discover anywhere else.
And that closes our episode for today. And once again, this is Sean Reyes, and he's gonna say bye to us, but we'll see him eventually again.
Let me plug my IG real quick. Follow me at sheepy.sean. Sean. There you go.
Yeah, he doesn't like it when Sean is spelled Shawn.
Nah, bro, look at my Starbucks cup, bro. I don't even know. I don't even know what does that even say, bro?
We'll see
Nah, I
you.
don't know.
We'll see you on our next episode. Y'all have a good day.